then you probably have to run a long distance. Then. I don't know how much of land does a tsunami cover?
Depends on how big it is.
Makes sense. that would make sense. It would depend on that. Well, I'm talking about the biggest tsunami ever.
A lot
Then you'd
of
all die anyway.
The biggest tsunami ever would kill everybody?
Everyone within whatever distance. Within the reach of the sign anyway.
Everyone within a stone's throw distance of the sign will die.
That thing is for sure.
Elsie says, what about blind people?
Well, that's why we need a box that constantly repeats over and over again a recorded message that says, in case of tsunami and blindness, follow the sound of this voice. When you arrive at this box, continue walking in the same direction. It just repeats that all day long. Like in the subways in China where they say, hold the handrail and watch your step.
They keep saying that?
Yeah, I say it in Chinese and I say it in English. And I say it in Chinese and I say it in English. It says, please hold the handrail and watch your step. Like a Hong Kongese sounding British accent lady. And then the next one's like, and then they have other things too. They do all the things that are arrive and go and stuff. They'll be like, they'll do it in Chinese, they'll do it in English.
So you live in LA or close to Japan, right?
I'm close to Japan?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I'm closer to Japan. It's like, it's easier to go west than east,
Yeah,
but not much.
Really? Why not much?
Because the Pacific Ocean is wide.
Because usually the map that we look at has LA in the far west and Japan in the east.
The map's lying. It's a liar. Japan is to the west of LA. From LA's perspective. From LA's perspective.
Yeah, it's in the west of LA because it's like circle, but the map is flat, you know?
It's like a circle. You're right. It is like a circle.
Well, what I want to say is like we keep looking at the maps since like primary school and stuff to the point that you think if you want to go from LA to Japan, you're gonna have to cross all that line when actually you just do the loop from behind the map.
That's why they should have issued you globes instead of maps.
Yeah, but globes are more expensive, I'd say.
Well, globes are subject to abuse. People might spin them around for fun instead of for learning about geography.
Yeah, maybe
that'd be terrible.
Make a fun of some kid like, hey, your head look like that globe.
Yes, exactly. People are likely to do that. They could even try to put the globe in front of their face and pretend the globe is their own head. All kinds of hijinks could ensue, none of which are tolerable.
Yeah.
The number one job of a school or a parent or a teacher or whatever is to make sure that children learn that they cannot have any fun.
Just die inside. First is asked.
We will begin treating you better, little NTP, when you finally commit soul suicide and can conform to our will. Freaking school system. The more I think about, when I do think about the school system when I was a kid, I think, oh my God, that was so fucking barbaric. I can't believe how barbaric it was. I mean, it's just like, who were the adults around there? Like, the shit that people got away with is insane. The ways that human society, at least American human society, allows still children to abuse each other, much less so now than it did when I was a kid, is insane.
I don't think it's any better, especially with the internet.
It's not just the USA though. Everywhere that's there.
Well, I mean, the thing is, what do you think's gonna happen when you force people who don't naturally choose to be together all day? Without, as slavery, without any payment or anything, you force them to stay there all day with people they don't like and who don't like them. What the fuck do you think's gonna happen? Do you think we'd all be getting along so well if you all were here at gunpoint?
Yeah, it's like those group things when they force you to work in a group or something.
The problem is the forced part.
Yeah. Or like they align the tables in a format that where the tables don't face the whiteboard, but they like facing each other, and we have to sit and keep looking at someone and work with them.
But that part doesn't bother me so much. I'm an extrovert, so I get that's fine. But I do hate the fact that I was forced to be in school. I hate the fact that we're still doing it. It's like what Taylor said about drug laws is also true about school. It's the biggest human rights violation that everybody's cool with, and it's absolutely a human rights violation. Nobody asked my permission. Nobody asked me if I wanted to go there. Nobody cared if I told them I didn't want to go there.
Yeah, but at that age, you probably didn't know what's good for you.
Well, they obviously didn't either because they sent me to school.
Well, they probably think that they did the right thing.
They're wrong.
Well, yeah, but what would be the alternative then? Getting homeschooled?
Not having any schooling. Like Audra, for example, she was homeschooled. Ken was homeschooled. What does that mean? They didn't have to do anything. They just played around and figure out shit they need to figure out on their own. Like it should be. If I had been left, granted, when I was a kid, there was no computers. There was more of a justification to have school. But if I were left alone as a kid now, I would have finished all of my high school, all through the end of high school by 6th or 7th grade. And that would have been fine. Everything I wanted to learn anyway. I wouldn't learn any of the shit I didn't want to learn. With good reason. Was that good reason? I didn't want to learn it.
Yeah, but not everyone is like an ENTP or something. Not everyone will be interested in learning stuff.
Well,
so
then,
some kids, you don't force them to, they won't. They will never do that.
I am not saying that children should not be allowed to choose to go to school. If they wish to choose to go to school, they should be allowed to go to school. But they shouldn't be forced to go to school. And there should be given plenty of options to choose from. And one of those options should be, I just want to run around and play all day with my friends. If that's what they need to do until they're 10 or 12 years old, then let them fucking do it. Granted, they got to learn how to read and shit, but you can teach. That happens when you read to them in bed. Nobody taught my daughter how to read. She just figured it out as we read together and stuff, you know? That's how it works. That's why we don't have to be, that's why I didn't have to teach my daughter English either. Because the playing is supposed to be how children become prepared for adulthood. It's not supposed to be slavery. And if you don't let kids play enough, well, you get me. I'm going to play for the rest of my life. Also, children should start smoking pot at age 5.
Age 5?
Yeah. I think it's for the best.
No.
Okay, 6. It's middle school. Middle school. You start smoking at 12.
I never smoked that. It's shit.
You never smoked weed?
No, I'm not saying.
You're muted. Oh. I'm saying you don't smoke it because it's garbage. Okay. Well, some people don't like it. The thing is, what I do know about marijuana is that it's by far the most sustainable and least impactful of all intoxicants.
Yeah, but it's still an intoxicant, though.
Right. But there are a lot of people like myself who function a lot better having access to some manner of self-medication than not having access to it. So for me, this is an important way for me to not drink alcohol. If I didn't have anything, I would start drinking alcohol again.
But that doesn't mean that it's a solution for alcohol. You're just changing something with another thing.
But this isn't a problem, and alcohol is, so it is a solution then.
No, the problem isn't alcohol. The problem is the addiction to whatever. It's
Okay,
like
but
coffee.
no, that's not true. Because look, if I have a problem of stabbing myself and I switch over to patting myself with a cotton ball, problem solved.
Yeah, in that case, yeah.
Well, that's how it is with alcohol and pot for me. Alcohol is like stabbing myself. I mean, literally, it's like rendering my life worthless. And this has no even remotely similar impact at all. In fact, it's hard to say it gets me intoxicated. It's difficult to say that. I don't appear to be intoxicated, do I? I'm smoking moon rocks on top of weed. I'll put concentrate on top of that. This is a bong rip that would knock most people on their asses all by itself. It doesn't even faze me. But even if it were to knock them on their asses, it would have absolutely no harms because unlike alcohol, it doesn't make them more likely to make bad decisions. It makes them less likely to make bad decisions because it makes you cautious and anxious if it affects you that way. If it doesn't affect you that way, it doesn't do the opposite. It just doesn't really affect you that way anymore. My brain is so used to pot that it has different effects on me than it would on somebody who smokes it when they're younger or something like that. But the point is, trying to make generalizations about drugs because you're talking about addiction is entirely not understanding what addiction means. Addiction is a persistent behavior that meets some need at some cost. There's a lot of behaviors like that we have that are not called addictions. But people don't credit addictions as being equally valid because they can't ascribe to it a use. Like it's not useful, Eric, for you to be smoking weed. Even if it weren't useful, and it is useful for me, but even if it weren't, that's not something you can tell because the usefulness is metaphysical and it's subjective. There's nothing objective to see at all, nothing physical to see, nothing objectively confirmable with another person.
What did you say? I mean, what's the point of this?
Well, the point is, you might be able to critique a behavior as being highly correlative with bad outcomes. That's a possible thing you could do. You could do that, for example, with me and alcohol. And you might be able to correlate addiction in general with like compulsiveness of behaviors and stuff. But what you can't do is suggest that there's anything to be gained from knowing something about addiction because this is so entirely unique from and not an example of the same thing of the way I drink alcohol. Even though they're both called addictions, they're not remotely similar things that I'm doing.
Well, I'd say addiction is an ability or inability to not do something.
That's not a definition you can use because in order to prove that I'm unable to not do something, I'd have to be willing to falsify it.
What do you mean?
I mean,